Welcome back to part two of the chat with Carl Swangtun, all the way from British Columbia, Canada. Part of. Do you know what? I know we've already done the introductions, Carl, but just tell us before we go back into that story about ayahuasca and the plant-based medication that we can take, because we are talking about alternative therapies and things like that. I've never done ayahuasca. I've heard about it. I've done some research into it and things like that. But tell us, first of all, remind us about your company, because your company is such an important part.
Right. We're Clear Impact Consulting, and we are wellness coaches. Really, our core focus is on nervous system regulation and management, because we strongly feel that that's the door opener to attracting the life we want to live. You know, we're all about helping people and partnering with people and coaching people on their journey to fulfillment and purpose, and living a life of abundance, of health, of wellness, and really being connected and living from the heart. And it's, you know, there's lots of words and ways and journeys to get there, but it's really very simple. It's all about recognizing that as fucked up, excuse my language, as this world is, and as many horrible things that can impact us in this world, our happiness is a choice. And it's hard for a lot of people, as we just talked about, to hear that, because when you're stuck and when you're revved up and when you're hearing all the negative thoughts, it's hard to believe that it's possible for you personally to make a choice, because look at how life is happening to me.
Yeah.
But it happens to so many. I mean, and we all live in the first world, Cuddy, and I'm sure much of your audience does. I've traveled to a lot of third world countries. See how life happens to them. And then you'll appreciate that all of these, many of the impacts that we get in our first world lives are first world problems. And so happiness and a life of abundance is truly a choice, but it's learning the pathways to calming the mind enough to be able to make that choice in the moment.
Yeah.
When we have the ability to choose, because we don't have the ability to choose our future or affect our past, but in the moment we have a choice to be powerful and attract abundance through generating a feeling, generating that vibration of attraction.
But you said in the moment, but we don't. That's the thing. And I know I was there. We don't live in the moment. And Carl, I know your story. We're going to go further. We don't live in the moment. We live looking and searching for things that bring us what we think bring us joy, that brings us absolutely nothing. That's that emptiness.
And I hate to say it, but a lot of that is driven by the capitalist culture, which sells us the idea that money and power are going to bring us happiness. And so it's this constant striving for some outcome in the future. And we really help our clients to recognize that as soon as we're trapped in the idea that we have to figure out how to get to an outcome, now we're living up here instead of living here and being at peace and finding the calm space to attract the abundance we want. And just recognize that the happiness is already in the calm space. It's already within us. And it's so much more simple.
Honestly, I believe it or not, when I'm talking, I used to do live lectures and talking about meditation, and it was the difference that I recognized within myself within 2 weeks, just 2 weeks. That was
right. It doesn't take a long time. Because you know,
go on,
sorry. Carl. We teach, and we talked about this in the last program. We teach two simple processes: a breath work and a vision activation work, which very quickly attracts results. And you start to notice right away things that are showing up in your life that are giving you that same feeling of abundance that you speak about in your vision of your perfect life. But we don't see them when we're revved up. They just pass us by, and we get attracted to those things that keep us revved up.
Yeah.
And I want to mention something to your viewers. This flat spot on my head, I think, is created by the camera. I haven't had a severe brain injury, as far as I know. Though if I have, maybe I just don't remember it. So who really knows? Maybe I have. But
that is a real background as well, isn't it?
Yeah, this is my. I live on.
That's not a green screen like I've got. You've got a proper background.
Yeah, this is my back of my cabin. I live on a lake.
Your head does look like it's got a bit missing.
Yeah, it's a flat spot. So don't try not to focus on that. Is my point.
We weren't until you mentioned it.
Yeah, well, sorry.
But no, that's right? How quick these changes come about with just meditation. Like I said, it was the first week of meditating is horrible. I mean, it's just you get angry, you get pissed off. You're like, well, I can't do it. Everyone
I
says you
can't
just got to
meditate.
sit and focus on your breath, and I'm like, shut up. And what I used to teach, and this is the funniest part, is like your monkey mind is not going to like it. It's not going to
Right.
like it, and it's just going to
100%.
say, "Excuse me, can we talk about something that happened 4 years ago? Because now is the time we need to talk about it."
Yeah.
And it was just like, well, how is this meditation supposed to calm me out? That's why most people giving up on meditation after like 2 days. Like, no, it's
Yeah.
horrible. It's
Well, I
horrible.
can't. How many times have you heard? Well, I can't meditate.
Yeah.
I can't calm my mind. And the way I like to propose it to them is two really ways. It's one way is like, can you breathe? Well, yeah, okay, you can meditate, and right. And the other one is, when you start meditating, and your mind goes somewhere and starts thinking about, what would happen if your son does something, and then you notice that your mind has gone there. That moment that you've noticed, you're present.
Yeah.
Because you're present to what the monkey mind is saying, and that moment is meditation.
Yep.
And meditation doesn't have to be for the full 30 minutes, and it doesn't have to be
Nope.
in the mudra and cross-legged, and
Nope.
it's
I
it
can't
can
even
be,
cross my legs.
yeah. That's another podcast. We'll have a flexibility coach on in a few weeks, and we'll get Cuddy crossing his legs within 2 weeks. I
Oh,
promise.
could you imagine? That's hilarious. So we wanted to talk, and we were talking about those plant medicines that you've had and you've experienced, and ayahuasca was one of them. Did you say you'd done more?
Yeah, Wachuma or San Pedro, St. Peter, San Pedro. It's an interesting story around that. The lore around San Pedro. It's more of the masculine energy, where ayahuasca is a very feminine energy, Mother Ayahuasca. Cambo, which is a tree frog venom, which is a cleanser that you use to get ready for ayahuasca, basically asphyxiates you for like 6 to 10 minutes of near death. But they actually use it in hospitals in South America because it massively cleanses the liver and the kidneys, and it really boosts the immune system. So, of course, in a hospital situation, to boost the immune system is powerful. And that really cleanses the system. And then, of course, I've worked with psilocybin, which are becoming legal here in Canada, legal in a medical space, which is
from mushrooms.
Magic mushrooms, right?
Right. Okay.
And that's really useful, not only for a spiritual connection, because it's probably the closest thing I've experienced to ayahuasca, but it's microdosing is actually really good for clarity, focus, and creativity in the mind. Right. So you just take a small dose that you don't notice any impact, but it actually, subtly it creates little synapses in the brain, connections in the brain, and helps to rewire us. And they're finding great value, as I'm sure many of your viewers know, in the use of hallucinogenics for depression and for anxiety.
Yes, they are. Yes.
And not only psilocybin, MDMA, acid, of course, ayahuasca, which has been used in that manner for thousands of years by the tribes, the Shipibo and other tribes in the Amazon. Yeah, so I think I want to make a point here, because we're going to talk about plant medicine, which is neither of our expertise.
Yeah, neither. No, definitely.
But I know, Cuddy, you do a lot of work with meditation. You do a lot of work on helping people notice, recognize, and calm the monkey mind, which is a beautiful thing. We do something slightly different, but very similar.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca does something completely different, but it's all focused on taking us to the same place. Yeah. All of the different therapies, and out there, you need to find what you're attracted to, what's showing up for you, even if it scares you a little bit. But what's knocking on your door, and what are you seeing on the billboard, and then the advertisement, and then talk to somebody else, and wow, this keeps showing up for me. It's because you're attracting it. And so look at that therapeutic journey, whether it's meditation or a therapist or a plant medicine or a landmark program or other types of intellectually based programs. They all are really trying to get us to live authentically, live from the heart, and live in the moment, and be present, love ourselves, enjoy life, enjoy the positives, because there's always positives to take out of life. Even in our most horrible times, when we lose someone we love or something like that, there's always learning and growth and positivity that one can't focus on. Yeah. So don't think when you hear Cardio that we're just pitching you got to do this with us. This is the only way. The idea of marketing out there where they say, oh, just take this pill, or just do this, and everything's going to be wonderful. Yeah, maybe for one or two people or whatever, but everybody's on their own path. We're all unique.
Yeah, no, I think everybody, I mean, I was speaking to a lady in Australia, and she had therapy, and she didn't enjoy therapy, and she started getting into the law of attraction, and that worked for her. And I certainly don't bash therapy in any way whatsoever. Whatever works for you. That's always the
Yeah,
premise
yeah,
of whatever works for you. And it's the
100%.
same thing about people on antidepressants. If they feel the need to have the antidepressants, certainly, I'm not in any position to say don't, but I just think that there's other options that you can take. You don't need to go down. And I was speaking to the hypnotist in one of
Yeah.
my first podcasts, and he was talking about the placebo effect. The
What was
placebo effect.
his name?
Dave Knight,
Oh, okay.
David Knight.
Because I know a British hypnotist out there that does some work. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and antidepressants. I think a lot of the medication that's given, most of it. I mean, yes, some, penicillin's a great thing. It's saved a lot of people, but a lot of the medication that we give are band-aids, and they soften symptoms. And here's a great example: you can't go and do ayahuasca in the jungle if you're on medication, because it becomes dangerous. So if you're on antidepressants, they'll say you have to be clean off those for a month for us to work with plant medicine, because it doesn't work. Another one that's great is, cannabis, which is a very powerful medicine for many people using it recreationally, which they would say that's not the right usage. The Rastafarians would use it more ceremoniously, or medicinally. But ayahuasca and cannabis don't get along. And I'll tell you an interesting story if you can dive into the ayahuasca, my experience. I was attracted to it very spontaneously. I actually wrote up business cards because I was going traveling after I left my career. And I wanted to go backpacking. I'd always wanted to do it my whole life. I knew I was meant to do it. And I made up a business card that said, Carl Svangtun, a midlife crisis travel blog. And I was doing a video each week on my journey, and on a YouTube channel called Carl's Path. And a girl mentioned to me, "Oh, you're going midlife crisis? You should check out ayahuasca." Just a girl I went to high school with, and just, okay, I'll do that. And I saw one page on the website and said, okay. And I'm a spontaneous guy. Sure, I'll do that. Sign up. And I got there and I'm like, what have I done? Oh no, because it's like putting 10 years of meditation in 1 week. It's an aggressive approach to dealing with trauma, but it is about dealing with trauma, and it is about really getting past the ego and getting to the heart, finding God, some would say, or finding authenticity. And so I got there and I was very afraid. And a lot of people are to drink. To begin with, ayahuasca is black, syrupy, astringent, sour. Oh, it's like one of the most horrid things you put in your mouth or throat, for many people, not for some. Again, everybody's path is different. Some people have very gentle experiences. And my first ceremony night, the shamans will, do some ceremony, light some Palo Santo, cleanse the space. We go agua de flora bath, a flower petal bath of water to help cleanse us. And we drink, sit down on our mattresses in this circular room with a cone shape to let the bad energy flow up, and waiting for it to happen. And about 20 minutes in, I start seeing these all beautiful geometries and flowing colors, and just like that, like looking through a kaleidoscope, just sacred geometry, just beautiful, and it's flowing and it's moving. And then the shaman starts singing Icaros, which is the chanting songs that they learned from the trees, from the plants. And everything just went and started moving very slowly. And it was like, whoa, this is cool. And I went through this first experience and I got a little frustrated within it, but it was really an introduction, because they say, you go and do one experience, it's going to start to maybe bring some stuff up, but it's just an introduction. Second ceremony, they actually specifically sing out your cannabis, sing out the marijuana. Whoa. The 13 of us there, people were flailing and puking, and I puked for 2.5 hours straight. Get out. I was seeing people offering me joints and flicking lighters at me, and it was insane. Very painful, very difficult. Now, there was a guy there, a Russian guy, who was your stereotypical angry man, abusive type of behavior, very closed off, arms crossed, told us his name, wouldn't tell us where he was from, wouldn't share an interesting fact about himself, all that getting to know you stuff. Didn't come to the first sharing after the first ceremony. Now, based on my stuff, I need everyone to like me. So I was trying to make friends with this guy. And I'm like, hey, what's your name? And, blah, blah, blah. I'm Carl. And, I need you to like me. And everyone says, oh, Carl, you're such a nice guy. No, it was my shit. I need people to like me because I didn't like myself. Right? And deep inside, I wasn't aware of it. And second ceremony, he flipped out. You could hear him. To me, he was a huge gorilla offering me weed because this whole marijuana concept was going on. And I was like, ah. And they walked him out and they took him to the showers and they showered him down because he was really losing his shit, screaming and yelling. And I could hear a girl beside me, Melissa, crying, is he going to die? I think she was actually talking about me because I was howling and stuff. The next day at sharing, this guy shows up. He doesn't look the same. He was humble, talkative, intelligent, very literate. It's like, who the hell is this person? Well, he spoke of his experience. He said Mother Ayahuasca was talking to him. I mean, you really connect spiritually. You're off in fantasy land. You are gone out of your body, and you are in like if talk about lucid dreaming. You are there, and you are off in different places of the universe. You can go back to your hometown, like crazy stuff. And she said, look, your ego is filthy. It's damaged. It's broken. He'd been through a lot, and I won't get into the details of his trauma, but he'd been through a lot in his youth. And she said, this ego's got to go. It's not repairable. It's got to go. But you have to have faith. You have to believe. You hear the religious overtones. You have to believe. You have to believe in love. You have to have faith that there's a universe out there that's there to support you no matter what. And he said, I had to let go. And he said, I felt my heart stop. I felt myself stop breathing. It was the scariest moment of my life. And then I was caught in a cloud of love. And I was just in bliss, free of my pain and of the stuff that he didn't even know he was holding back. And then on, he was just this amazingly kind, calm, compassionate man. And I've kept in touch with him. He travels and works from a computer and travels the world. Amazing man, amazing young man, just in his late 20s, early 30s. Now, this was a problem for me, unfortunately. Because I decided and they call it an ego death, or what a Christian would call a born again moment. Right. Where not the ones that pretend, hey, I had a born again moment, look at me, I'm good. Because that's what our ego does. Our ego wants us to join in with something that everybody likes, and I'm this and I'm that, right? That's what our egos tell us to do. We want to look good for everybody else. But he had what was called an ego death. So Carl, because I'm the smartest guy in the room, decided that he had to have an ego death.
He knew that was coming.
I'm going to have an ego death. I think I need to do this. Well, thinking and doing are ego. And very similar to what we teach, if you're thinking about an outcome and trying to figure it out, that's this. It's not this. Yeah. Right? Doing plant medicine, you need to relax, breathe, and feel. It's all about the feeling of your heart coming out, right? And creating that vibration of love and attracting through a feeling. So Carl went to and now, first ceremony, I'd done a 2-ounce normal dose. Second ceremony, shaman said, how much do you want? And he doesn't speak English. He's just nodding and waving at me. My shaman, Wheeler Noriega, is an amazing man. And he's online on YouTube and Facebook and stuff. He's got a white eye. I mean, every shaman should have a white, cloudy eye, right? It's like the comic books. It's the best. Anyway, so Carl decides he's going to have an ego death. Second ceremony, he says, how much do you want? I said, you decide, because I'm, ego. So he gives me a full glass, and I lost my shit. And it was so scary. So third ceremony, after I decided that Carl's going to have an ego death, I'm going to dive through the wormhole as soon as I see it. That's where I'm going. He said, how much do you want? I said, I'll just go back to the regular dose, please. Because I was scared. It was painful. It's hard losing control, right? And this is the thing for most people. I could never do it. I can't lose control. I can't be out of control. Yeah, you can. You're not going to die.
I know.
And it's a challenge, but and that's same thing with meditation. Same thing with anything else.
And I can't. They are not in control. That's the whole thing. They're not in control. They're in control.
Right. It's the backwards part. Your ego is in control.
I know.
So third ceremony. So I'm going up. I'm like, oh, I'm scared. And I start to trip, and I'm here and there. And every time I sort of see something here in this weird wandering through the spiritual world, I'm going to do, as soon as I got to do this, or I think, blah, I just started to throw up, and it just slapped me and put me towards my bucket. And I threw up for 2.5 hours. Exhausting, like horribly exhausting. Just lost the plot. Right. And I'm like getting so frustrated and so angry, and it's painful. You're puking for air, obviously, because you puke 3 times, it's all gone from your crotch, and like just right from your power core. And the next day, now I'm exhausted. I've been doing yoga and hitting the bag every day in the gym. They've got a, you know, rudimentary gym, and you're not sleeping. You're fasting half your meals, and then you're doing this really aggressive ceremony at night. So I had burst the blood vessel. I chewed my lips open. I was, you know, that achy, exhausted where you've been up for a day and a half and your whole body aches and you're just so tired. Fourth ceremony, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to drink. I'm done. This is 4 ceremonies in a week. This is the first week I did it. I've been back a few times, but so fourth ceremony, I don't want to do it, but my ego won't let me not do it because I'm a man, right? So I go to ceremony. It's how much do you want? I said, give me a half dose. So I get the 1 ounce portion, right? And I drink it, and it's disgusting, and it's down my throat. And I go back to my bed, and I'm trying to throw it up, and it wouldn't come up. It wouldn't let me. And I had my wrist down my throat trying to throw this stuff up, and it wouldn't come out of me. And I started tripping, and I had the hardest, craziest trip I'd done yet. And I was gone. Like, I didn't know where I was. And at one point, I sort of, you sort of come in and out of coherence. And for me, Chester Gerbaz, this beautiful young 24-year-old soul from Perth beside me, would just be in child's pose, having these beautiful flowing journeys with one little throw up at the beginning to get rid of the excess. And then he would kept doing this, move his head to the side and go, Carl, just breathe. You know, so I'm like, and puking and flailing around. And so I got up to go to the bathroom because I just had to get out of there. This is all scaring me. And all the shamans sing for like 5 hours. They sing these icaros. We got 3 shamans there. And Angelina, the lady, is place like this. And I'm like freaked out and creeped out. So I get to the bathrooms. And I don't want to go X-rated on you all here, but it's the jungle. It's 40 degrees. We're all in our underwear. I took my underwear off because I had promised myself, ego, that I wouldn't shit myself. Well, I did a few ceremonies later, but that's another story. And so I'm laying around, rolling around naked in my own throw up. Nice, pleasant scene, right? And I keep going into this pain and puking, and I'm exhausted. I just wanted to stop, just wanted to be over. And there's bats flying around, and the howler monkeys are freaking out in the jungle, and you're outside by these washrooms. It's this crazy scene. Very much taken care of, great facilitation. Someone's there with you, you know, making sure you're not in trouble. And I finally remembered something. I remembered what people said to me in the sharing. Every next day would do sharing for 2 hours, and the shaman would say what that means. The shaman would go in, oh, the snake means this, and you saw rabbits, and this is what this is, and you went back and saw your parents. With me, his explanation of what I saw, he'd say, darkness. I paid the same money as them. You tell me darkness? Anyway, so it was a common theme. What people would say is, you just have to let go. Ask Mother Ayahuasca what you need to see, what you need to hear, and just let go. And I thought to myself, wow, for a guy who thinks he's so smart, you're really kind of dense. Like, listen to everyone's advice. So I finally said, partly because I was just so beaten down. Okay, you've tenderized me enough. Throw me on the grill, you know. I just said, okay, Mother Ayahuasca, show me what I need to see. All this pain and exhaustion and fear just dropped to 50% like that. I saw a pile of this. You're not going to believe this if you haven't gone to these places, and that's totally cool. Your ego's going to say, okay, we liked what he was saying earlier, and now he's a lunatic with a caved-in skull. I get it. It's okay. Believe what you want. I saw a pile of snakes and bugs, this big black pile, and just melting. And then I saw my own birth. I saw my mother giving birth to me. I was standing in the hospital room at Burnaby General Hospital watching myself be born. And I knew, it's this knowing. It's like, okay, that's cool. And then I saw the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life walking towards me with a bright light behind her. So she was just a black silhouette. And it was just resonating the vibration of beauty, of wholesome, compassionate beauty. And it was like she was on AstroTurf coming towards me and just falling off right in front of me. I'm laying on my back, nude. This beautiful man from Newcastle, I want to say, England,
right.
had his hand on my heart, and he said, just breathe, feel the love in your heart. But as she came towards me, I viscerally, like I gripped your arm, could feel peace, love, and serenity come up through my feet, up my legs, and into my heart. Once that happened, I was completely awake, out of it, completely coherent. All my exhaustion was gone. All my pain was gone. The Icaros that the shamans were chanting, which sounded so creepy, jungle, this is evil, this isn't good, this isn't right to me earlier, now was the most beautiful, blissful sounds I'd ever heard. And I just wanted to go lie on my mattress and never leave the rest of my life. Even if it was only 5 more hours, I'm happy with that, because I was surrounded and cuddled in love and caring and compassion. An amazing experience.
After
Now,
the fourth time, though.
Well, and that was, again, everyone's different. You know, I had 50 some odd years of shit piled on me, right? And
yeah,
and we're, you know, we're all different. And I went to, I'd left. I was going to Colombia for Christmas and New Year's, and I recognized that I needed to do more work. I thought, oh, I had my ego death. Yeah, look at me, I'm saved, right? Now, right back into the head, right? And I had a dream, a very lucid dream of flying over Cusco, Peru, which I had never been to. And there were 2 high-rises and a little lean-to in the middle, pulsating. And the company I was with was called Pulse Tours, strangely at the time. That's the name at the time. Now, Dan Cleland, that owned that, owns Soltara, the center in Costa Rica that does plant medicine work. An amazing place. Melissa Stengel and yeah, I mean, you know, Soltara, if anybody is interested, is a great place to connect with if you're interested in doing that work. And the first thing I remember when I woke up was that I had a return ticket to Peru. I bought it. I was actually going to move on to the Caribbean to meet my cousin in a sailboat, but it was cheaper to buy a return ticket. So I bought a return ticket. So I connected the stream. This thing's pulsating at me. I've got a return ticket to Peru. I'm supposed to come back. I'm supposed to come back. So I came back for 2 more weeks and did Huachuma. I went to Machu Picchu, which is that whole area, Cusco to Machu Picchu. The vibration in that sacred valley, it's about 100 miles, and Pisac and these little towns with thousands of drum healers and plant medicine healers and yoga and meditation and blah, 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 blah. Amazing place. And yeah, I continue to do the work, and I recognize now that, again, it's not about an outcome. It's about growth, and it's about the journey. I'm going to continue to grow and learn until the day I die. Because there's so many blind spots we all have in who we are and how we can be in service in the world and how we can grow, that the growth never has to end. And it's never about getting anywhere. It's about being able to be more present on the journey, being able to be more happy on the journey, being able to be more connected and more able to be in service to others with better strength and clarity of purpose on the journey, you know? And I know you're shaking your head, and your route has been through meditation. One is not better than the other. They're just different. They're just different practices.
Yeah.
So the message being, notice what's showing up for you and be courageous to take the first step, because the only real courage is the first step. It can be messy through the process. You're going to cry some, you're going to do, you know, you're going to feel some pain, you're going to relive some experiences, but safe. Growth is always safe. It's about having the courage to take that first step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. And just like the last time, I've just gone on for 12 minutes, 14 minutes. Your turn.
No, not honestly, Carl, it's brilliant. I've enjoyed the chatter, and I know there's so much more. And look, this is a whole new premise that the Monkey Man chatter about the chatter. But when you were really down in the depths of the darkness before the ayahuasca experience, anyway, we know we've been there. We know it's hard, it's cold, it's scary,
lonely,
tough love. It was tough love that got me out of it. That's the thing, and that's what most people talk about. Is there's this balance, something so simple of, oh, should there be tough love or shouldn't there be tough love? But everyone that's got out of that spiral, there'll have been someone in their life that hit them with the tough love. For me, it was my wife. And I'm always very, I'm pointing because she's in through the other room. But no, it was my wife who said, whatever you're going through is now starting to affect me. And that happened. So what was the tough love experience for you?
That's really interesting. You know, there wasn't, I would guess, and I would think it was my boss, who's a Christian man. I think I mentioned the last time, Brian Teason, some real depth to that man and some awareness of stuff. And like everyone else, he's got his own shit. But he owned the organization that I worked for. And we had restructured 3 years before I left the company, where we had a CFO, COO, myself, and another gentleman, and Brian as the president, who wasn't really that active in the business. And we said, look, this isn't working because none of the team really knows who's in charge. Is it me? Or is it the CFO, Neville? Or is it Brian? So we restructured, and Neville became president. Another amazing individual, a really, really classy, intelligent man. And I became in charge of diversification, and I started to look into the health food space.
Yep.
Companies to purchase, and we ended up developing a product called Raw Energy. I think I mentioned before, which is a hemp seed mix, topping mix, and that didn't work out. A couple of years in, it was the wrong product to start with, and I won't get into the business details, but we made some decisions around product choices and marketing that didn't get us to the starting line of making it a profitable division fast enough. And other things happening in the business, we decided to shut down that division. And so I was gone. I was on severance after 21 years with this organization. And I mean, incredibly generous man. He treated me very well. Tenure, and I delivered value to the organization, and I told him this, and I think he might have taken it a bit personally. After I'd left, about 6 months later, I said, looking back, you didn't get 100% of me. You didn't get my best effort, my best work, because I was so revved up and I couldn't focus, and I was so connected to drinking and smoking a lot of weed and in an inappropriate way, that I wasn't as present I could have been. Now, I was a good COO. We grew. We had a great culture. We grew. We were profitable. We did a lot of good things. But I know I had more to give.
Yeah.
So I think my tough love was, I was in this place where I was making a good 6-figure salary, well over $200,000 a year. Some years more than double that. And trapped in this lifestyle of abundance, of financial abundance, but not life abundance. And my tough love was, okay, that's over. Now what the hell are you going to do? Now on severance, I could have gone and doubled up and got another job, but I think there was a part of me that said, I'm not happy doing this. I don't want to do that, because I'm not getting rich and I'm putting it all away for retirement. I'm spending it as faster than I can earn it, because I wasn't happy. And I was caught up in this need to be generous and make everyone else happy so they'd like me, and gave away and lent away and all of my money. And so my tough love was different than, it wasn't somebody saying, look, you're a drug addict, you got to clean your shit up or get out of my house type of thing. It was the universe saying, okay, you've ridden this train long enough. And even though when I went traveling, I was still the party guy, I was still drinking a lot, I was still, misbehaving, let's say. Maybe that's where I got the flat spot on my head. I don't remember. But the ayahuasca was really, I guess the ayahuasca was really the tough love for me in terms of the more personal tough love, because it kicked me in the nuts hard over and over and over again. And I did 7 ceremonies in those 3 weeks. So that, and then some wachuma and some nunu and some other things. But it was like she was saying, okay, you need a number of kicks, and I'm going to kick you like for 2.5, 3 hours tonight. Come back in a couple of nights. We're going to do it again and again and again and again. And it was it was what I needed to expose some of my shit. And again, it wasn't about, oh, you're saved, you're healed now, you're better. No, it was about, now you're on a path that includes growth, that includes self-love, that includes really being in service from here as opposed to from here. So that was it, I think, for me. In a long way, you cannot get a short answer from me, just as you're learning.
It's fine. So it's actually nice for me to not be doing a lot of talking. And trust me, I enjoy the stories.
Awesome.
That's the whole premise of the journeys. I get to meet these people and listen to these stories, which is great. So what's your version of self-love? I think self-love in a world of Instagram and social media, I see self-love get really misunderstood and really not understood at all. And everyone's like, no, my self-love is is pictures and selfies on the beach and all these things. And it's
Yeah,
just,
that's ego. That's all ego. Yeah.
that's all ego. We know that, but we are
Yeah.
a little bit older, Carl. So we get that. But we see
Yeah.
this in kids growing up that, oh, well, this is my self love, which is 10 pints or 16
Yeah.
gins or whatever it is. But self
I
love
deserve
now,
self-love for a lot of people is I deserve this. So
there
I'm
you
going to the
go.
spa. The spa
Yes.
isn't self-love. The
No.
spa can feel good for sure.
Yeah.
I think for me, there's a couple ways I would explain it. Many people are real good caregivers, are really good at taking care of others and being helpful and supportive and charitable and all that. For me, it's treating yourself in that same way.
Yeah.
So honoring your own needs as you honor anyone else's, even your children or your mother, that your needs are equal because you're a perfect soul like everyone else, and you deserve, I hate the word deserve, you are worthy of that same love. So that's one piece of it. So if you can see how you serve others, recognize that sometimes an equal amount of time to serve oneself.
Yeah.
The other thing really is, and this is a struggle, this is work, this is practice, and that's why we have practices, and that's why you teach certain practices, that's why I teach certain practices in my work. It's self-acceptance right now, because I am perfect, whole, and complete right in this moment, knowing that I still engage in some bad habits and I still make mistakes. I still can put my foot in my mouth and not show up authentically. I can still show up from here, and step on people's toes maybe, because I'm human. So it's self-acceptance that as a soul, as long as I am committed to growth, to being in service, and to enjoying this every little minute moment of this experience, then I am worthy, and I am whole and complete right now. So that self-acceptance is to me self-love.
Yeah. No, brilliant. Thank you.
And I was the guy. You look at my Facebook. I've got 28,412 pictures on my Facebook. I had a YouTube channel called Carl's Path. Some of those, my ayahuasca video on there has got 20,000 views, and I monitor that. Oh, I like 20,000 views. Look at me. I mean, that's a little dopamine hit. So that, yeah, it's human behavior. But at least seeing it and recognize it and being aware of it allows us to step back and say, okay, that's fun, but that's not truly what it's all about.
There we go.
In my vision statement, and we train people on how to effectively write a vision statement and effectively activate a vision statement, because it's the practice that creates the power of attraction. It's the practice that raises our vibration. And one statement that I really connect with, and I learned this through the Landmark program, which we haven't talked about. It's another path, is the idea of identifying ourselves not as individuals anymore, but as the group, not as part of a group, but as the group, whether it's for the world or community. And I say, I am unconditional, compassionate love. I find opportunities each day to be in service to the world, to myself, and to others. Adding the words to myself were very difficult for me.
Yep.
Because it's easy to be in service to others, because it helps us think that we're a good person. But if you're neglecting yourself, you're limited.
Yeah.
So that's who I know. That's my purpose. I know my purpose is to be one that helps others to find their path, not my path, their path, and to do it with compassion, with love, with acceptance. Yeah, that's how I do it. So saying those words and saying the words, I love myself, I am worthy, I am enough, saying those words to myself every day and connecting to the feeling that evokes. I love myself. It feels awkward to say for many people.
It
It still
does.
feels awkward at times for me to say. But when I say it over and over again, okay, what does that feel like to love yourself? I love myself. Yeah, I love myself. And it makes us bloom.
It does. It's look. I'm a big guy. As I said this before, 6'2", 3 feet wide, and it's such a strange concept for people to understand that. No, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself first before anyone else can love you. If you don't love what you are, you're never going to let anybody in whatsoever. And the
Yeah.
identification of love is such a hard thing for so many people. So
Yeah.
many people.
Well, I posted today. What was that I posted today? I cannot truly love you unless I love me. And I cannot truly love you or love me unless I love you. And I mean that in a human way. So I can't be in service unless I love myself. And I can't really love myself unless I truly love you all.
Yeah, true. Very true. So honestly, this has gone really deep. We love how deep this has gone. Thank you so much, Carl. Now,
Yeah, that's
before,
what life's really about, right?
yeah, no, it is.
Authenticity.
But if there's anybody listening to this, you have definitely been authentic. I'll give you that.
Thank you.
100%. Now, let's talk cold therapy before we go any further.
Aha,
I
love
know
it.
this is coming to the end because we do talk about what works for one person, and once we start doing these things, and I still can't believe I do cold therapy because I do
it's
not
awesome.
like the cold. I don't like a cold shower. I will not have a cold shower.
Which is one of the easier ways to do cold thermo.
And I won't do it because I'm like, no, I need a warm shower in the morning.
Right. So cold thermogenesis is what you're talking about, is one of the practices we teach around, again, getting connected to nature, things that are good for our physiologies, help build a robust and resilient nervous system so we can protect ourselves against all this toxic landscape we've created in this world. And it's just one practice, and there's so many different practices. A cold thermogenesis is great. It boosts the immune system. It actually builds brown adipose tissue, what they call brown fat.
Brown fat,
which is the fat that keeps us, when we're shivering, it helps to keep us warm. It's not the white fat that's around Cuddy's belly. I'm kidding. The white, it actually burns more white fat because when you do cold thermogenesis, to the point of shaking and shivering a little bit, it actually raises your resting metabolic heart rate. So once you're done, you're actually burning at a higher rate throughout your day. It gives you such mental clarity. If you're feeling brain fogged and that, it just clears the mind. Hope you don't mind the little dig. That was mean. I can be mean. I'm good at that. It's part of me being human. So cold thermo doesn't have to be chop a hole in the lake, which I know you're a pretty hardcore guy to get out there and do it.
Going into the lake.
Yeah, and now that's the hardcore. It's the Wim Hof, swim under the ice flow for 3 minutes and see how long you can hold your breath. You don't have to do that. Cold thermo can be as simple as, on a cold day, go out in shorts and a t-shirt and be outside for 30 minutes and just let the cold seep into you till you're shaking a bit. That works. Get a bowl of ice water and just put your face in the ice water for as long as you can hold your breath a few times over. Finish your shower with 30 seconds of cold water. On your front is easier. Turning around and getting on your spine is a little harder.
It's the spine. When you get to the base of your back, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And or go jump in a lake, jump in a river if you've got access or whatever. Now, as I'm sure you know, Wim Hof, a very famous, popular guy who's got a lot of records for cold, maintaining 2 hours in an ice bath, and he's still 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. His body temperature. He does it through his breath. So if people, when they hear, breath work, whatever, and people, when they hear Cuddy say meditation, just focus on your breath, it's just too simple. It's too simple. Your breath is so powerful. If you do the Wim Hof breathing, which is really deep into your lungs and letting it fall out really deep, what you're doing is over oxygenating all of your cells. So you'll actually claw up like this. Doing that before cold thermo actually helps you maintain your body comfort and temperature. And then when you're in the water, focus on deep breathing, not like you want to hyperventilate in the water, is a powerful way to help maintain your calm in the water, right?
Yeah. No, beautiful, I love practice. I do. I absolutely love it. Even to this day, my wife, she's like, she can't even watch me doing it. I'm like, look, I'm not going to hurt myself. It's the strangest thing when you explain to people, just control your breath. Control your breath. You won't go into shock. You are regulating your entire system, and it's just, I love going in, even in the winter, because we live very close to the sea. Just the North Sea is just down there, and
which is a cold sea.
That's
not the Caribbean,
summer,
folks.
so it's amazing to go in the winter. And I couldn't believe I was going in it, and that was my self care for the winter. I'm like, no, I'm going for a dip. I'm going for a dip.
Brilliant.
It works. I love it.
Hey, you told me briefly. I want to just ask you a couple questions. You told me briefly that you like strongman training, like so you'd be
Yes.
deadlifting and stuff like that. You know, lifting heavy weights and doing
Yes.
endurance stuff and whatever. Why do you do that?
Um, I so last year I started losing weight, and it was. Do you remember I told you it's about the self awareness is listening to the excuses. So COVID happened, and it was just basically I heard myself say, "Oh, I said I'm not going to lose weight." I said to my wife, "I'm not going to lose weight. The gyms are closed," and it was that realization that you've just said you're going to fail already, and I'm like, no. So I
Yeah,
started getting
yeah,
tires. I just found tires. I used the law of attraction. Strangest thing, I found tires, really heavy tires, and I started flipping them.
yeah.
And I
Right.
lost loads of weight last year. I went down to I lost about 50 pounds last year. And then I just started thinking, I don't know, I started Googling strongman activities, strongman, because I was doing things with barrels. So I was like, how can I
Yeah.
make barrels heavier, put sand in? And I just followed a few guys. I'm like, I'm going to start doing strongman training. So I just like strongman. I've always enjoyed strongman, the
Okay.
competition. So
Can I stop you
yes,
right?
I
Can I
started.
stop you right there?
Yes.
What you just said is powerful for me. I like it.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed it. I've always been attracted to it.
Yes.
Right. And so look, Adam, my partner, is a rock climber and really into mountain biking. He mountain bikes a ton. Like, and he's 48 and he's just, you know, six-pack abs mountain biker. I got a mountain bike. I never ride it. And I used to feel a bit guilty. Oh, I used to be a mountain biker, whatever. I chop wood. I love going in the forest and gathering wood, chopping wood. I need it for the winter because I don't have heat in this place. And do what you're attracted to. You know, if somebody tells you you should go to the gym or start doing yoga or go on a diet and it's not what you're attracted to, you're not going to stick with it.
You know, you know.
Do you crave your strongman stuff?
So last year I was mountain biking. I did what
Yeah,
mountain biking.
yeah.
I did 100 miles in a day. That was my goal.
Mm.
Yes, in Scotland as well.
Right, you're in Scotland. You're in Scotland, so you believe in miles, right? You're one of the two weird countries in the world that believe in miles.
So I did 100 miles in a day, and then I'll
That's
give you a
huge.
Scottish word. After that, I took a little bit of a scunner. So a Scottish word, a scunner, a dislike to mountain bikes for a while.
Was
So
that your
every
crotch?
time I
Was that
see
your
the mountain
crotch talking?
so every time I see the mountain bike in the shed, I'm like, oh, I can't. No, I'm just not ready to go back on the mountain bike. So, and I did deficit all last year. Deficit. I could not spell deficit or find deficit in calories at this moment
Yeah,
in time. So, luckily, I'm doing all these heavy weights. So I'm getting
yeah,
so much stronger. I'm not actually putting
yeah,
too much fat on because the muscles are getting bigger, which is
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
nice.
Well, yeah, your shoulders, you can tell.
They are, yeah, no, and
Yeah,
so that's my excuse for the amount of calories that I'm eating. Because you're right, there's sometimes I'm in the mindset to absolutely go deficit. Fasting is one of my favorite things in the
yeah.
entire world, but you've
Another
got to
great
be in the
practice.
mood.
Yeah,
You've got to
yeah.
be in the mood. I used to do 4
So,
or 5 day
but
fasts.
but I think it's really important for people to know that Cuddy does strongman training because he enjoys it, because he's attracted to it and he enjoys it, and then it's something you actually look forward to doing. And when we're trying to develop a lifestyle for health and wellness, it has to be something that we are attracted to, and therefore we're going to create a habit that we want to do, because
Yes,
it's not about doing something for 3 months to, you know, build a six-pack ab or 22-inch bicep or lose 20 pounds or whatever. It's about a lifestyle.
yeah.
And how do you feel through your day? And if you feel good flipping tires, yeah, awesome. If
Oh,
somebody else feels good landscape raking and has a landscaping company because they just enjoy working with the soil, awesome. You know, that's your thing. So notice what you enjoy, right?
so I want to err on the side of caution on that one. What if I enjoy 3 lines of cocaine on a Saturday?
Well, first of all, I don't think on a Saturday 3 is enough.
But I'm just saying.
Depending how the big they are. Well, again, I think within the realm of things that serve us, because obviously we know that doesn't serve us.
No.
You know, and I can promise you something. Most things that don't serve us make us feel worse afterwards.
Yeah.
And I've done lots of blow in my life, lots of coke in my life, and yeah, it gives you that little rush of I feel happy and I feel energized, but it's a depressant.
It is.
And after it's all gone and you're searching the carpet for the last little nodule that you lost or flicked off the table, not that I've done that before, I've heard stories, then you're deeper and darker hole than when you started. So it doesn't make you feel good. And so that's a craving from here and not from here. So what I'm talking about is, as in my program, as I'm sure within yours, when you present a bunch of options for people and we say, look, we need movement in our lives, not necessarily exercise, but move. We like to call it movement because it's broader. We evolved to be moving all the time. What type of movement works for you? Cocaine doesn't fit in the realm of movement. No. We don't have a section of which kind. We don't have a drugs section. Which kind of drugs are you attracted to?
Yeah.
Meth is great because you've got lots of energy for movement. No, that doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, again, within the realm of health and wellness, and if someone's going to try and justify that, then obviously they're so caught up.
It's and you know, I even when I'm working with clients, and I'm sure it's for you, when you ask somebody what did you do for yourself today to bring yourself some joy, and the amount of people that say, well, nothing. No,
I didn't have any time. No, work was super busy, and then I had to take care of the kids, and I just didn't have any time. Bullshit. Of course you had time. How much time you spend on your phone? How much time are you on Netflix? How much time that, what were you doing when you were standing in line at the bank? Because you could have been doing some stretching. What were you, there's always time. How long does it take to meditate? 1 minute, you can meditate. 2 minutes, you can meditate. 10 minutes is better. There's always time.
Yeah. Honestly, Carl, thank you so much. Not for only doing
you're
one,
welcome.
but two podcasts with us at Monkey Mind podcast, Chatter About the Chatter. Thank you. And I mean that sincerely. Total gratitude from me. That's a word that gets thrown around quite a lot these days and quite misunderstood. So thank you, Carl. And I want you to mention your company again, because it's a huge thing.
Can I mention 3 things? First of all, I'd like to give people a couple of resources if they're interested to learn more about plant medicine.
Yeah.
If you want a very, very authentic, go to the Amazon experience with a very gifted and very well experienced and well trained shaman, connect with a gentleman online called Wheeler Noriega Rodriguez. Wheeler is spelled W-I-L-E-R, so Weiler. Noriega just has N-O-R-I-E-G-A, and Rodriguez just as Rodriguez would be. But if you search Wheeler, he's got a place out of Pucallpa in Peru. It's a Shipibo village, so your hut's on dirt ground. He's got nice sleeping accommodations and a proper kitchen and a proper maloca, so it's all well taken care of, but it's very authentic. If you're more comfortable in a more Western environment, Soltara in Costa Rica also is a top-notch outfit. A little bit more money, but they've got a swimming pool, a gym, beautiful accommodations, really experienced. Dan Cleland owns that. And Melissa Stangl, who's an amazing woman who runs the business side of things. They will help teach you and guide you on that. So those 2, if anybody's interested in that plant medicine research. Or you can always message myself. My name's Carl Svangtun, spelled Carl, C-A-R-L. Svangtun this is a tough one. Get a pen and paper.
It is a tough one.
It's my father's fault. S as in Sam, V as in Victor, A, N as in Norman, G as in Gordon, T as in Tom, U, N as in Norman. And our organization, we really filter into our Facebook community. And our Facebook community is called the Clear Impact Self-Care Community. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
That's who we are. Thank you so much for having me on. Pleasure to connect with you some months ago online. Love the work you're doing. Love your energy. And keep helping people and keep living your passion. I think it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you very much, Carl. Absolute blessings from me all the way in Bonnie, Scotland, to you in the beautiful. I know this won't be the last time that we chat. I just know it.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is. You are 100% right. What shows up for you, as long as you're looking, it does show up for you. It genuinely does.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Thank you.
You bet. Have a great evening, I guess.
Yes, evening for us now. It's midday for you, right?
Yeah, we're just about to go for a swim at the thunderstorms and lots of forest fires around here, unfortunately, so it's a bit smoky, but gonna go have a swim, get a little cold because the water's a bit chilly, and enjoy the day.
Enjoy.
Have a good one. We'll talk soon.
Thank you very much, Carl. Much appreciated. Goodbye.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a great podcast, everyone. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in for that one. Bringing you as the dopamine however we can. Bringing you those smiles, those laughs, and those stories. There's so many different alternatives out there, so many different therapies, giving you options and understandings. And like we said, can't really fact check us because this is just what we're talking about. It's opinions, it's different perspectives, it's different ideas, and that's what it's all about. Chatter about the chatter. Thank you very much for joining us on this podcast, part 2 with Carl Svangtun, and you have yourself a fantastic day. I will see you around. Get in contact, join the Facebook group, and as always, big love from Cuddy.